Hello, Power Rangers, family, friends, and fans. Steve Andrino Baboo here with the premiere episode of Baboo's Monster Review. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with who I am, haven't met me at a con or friended me on any of my social media, I was the actual suit actor for the character of Baboo for all of Season 2 and Season 3. Basically, once they brought Lord Zed on to be the new head villain, since there was no existing footage of Zed, they couldn't use any existing footage of any of the other monsters. So they wanted one person to play Baboo, especially because he had the open face, so he would actually look basically the same through all of Seasons 2 and 3. And that honor fell to me. Now, because of that, I have a certain love and affinity for the monsters. And actually, in my opinion, they're the real stars of the show. Thing about any kind of superhero movie or TV show is you can have heroes, but if they don't have anybody to fight, they do a lot of standing around doing nothing. You can have a monster movie or monster TV shows without defined heroes, and you still have a show. You know, Godzilla is a monster, but there was no particular superhero to fight him or heroes. It was just, ordinary people. King Kong, same thing. Well, a lot of these old-time monster movies had the same issues, so it was refreshing to be a monster on the show. Now, I know they just had the 30th anniversary for Power Rangers about 2 weeks ago, and that was kind of what prompted me to do this. I've been talking about doing this for a while and wanting to really get the love out there for the monsters. As a matter of fact, if you've met me at some of the more recent conventions I've been at, a lot of times on my pictures I will sign it as, besides, personalizing it to you, I will also add monsters need love too. And I don't mean that they're all, you need to pretend that they're good guys. We know they're not. We know they're monsters for a reason. But it's just the respect and the appreciation and knowing that they're needed. So just real quick, let's hop over here. I actually want to do this real quick. We're going to get some background on me. So, again, me at one of the cons. This is one of the pictures of me in costume and makeup. I have a little collage picture here. You see me and Squatt without our heads. These two are actually the pictures that I use for autographs at the conventions. This is artwork done of one of the pictures of me by a friend of mine named Gaz. I've been on his show Action Activate a couple times, do interviews and other episode reviews. A couple of trading cards, a Pog. That one's actually a photo of me. Get my booth set up. Me with meeting Rita Repulsa, Carla, after 20 some odd years. Michael Copon. This is Beaumont Comic Con with Liana Ramirez, Christina Ho, Justin Nimmo, and me. But just to give you an idea of what I've done and how long I've been doing this. Okay, so the whole point of this is to, there we go, start reviewing the Power Ranger episodes from the very beginning. Now again, I realize Season 1, Episode 1, all of Season 1 I wasn't actually Baboo. But I got an appreciation for being on the show and wanted to go back and watch all the episodes again. It's been a while. And really get at it from the monsters' perspective. I know that, like I said in the little teaser trailer, there's dozens of different Power Ranger channels out there. And a lot of them focus on who's the best Ranger or what's the best season or this or that. And every now and then they will do episodes about monsters. They'll talk about some of the monsters, maybe even who is the best, head villain, or who is the best sidekicks, or whatever, best monster of the week. But I wanted to do one that focused primarily on the monsters. Obviously, there's going to be some other things that I will point out as we go. Certainly things that I might have some, inside knowledge on, backstage knowledge, if you will, since I was there backstage. The thing about Power Rangers, too, is I know Saban tried selling the rights to it and getting it made into a TV show for years. And it took him many years before Fox Studios picked it up. Now, Fox Network, I should say, picked it up because they were creating their Fox Kids label. This is back in 1993. He just sold them the rights to a cartoon he had. I believe it was the X-Men cartoon. And my understanding is they asked him, well, what else you got? We've got a couple of hours of time slots to fill up. And he kind of reluctantly said, well, I've got this, and showed them Power Rangers. Now, I realize it had been running for quite a while in Japan under, Sentai iterations. But nothing like that had ever really been seen in the U.S. before. The only thing I can even think, anime as huge as it is now wasn't big 30 years ago. The only Japanese themed shows I can think of that I remember as a kid was Battle of the Planets or G-Force, or we had Voltron, things like that. So, but to see it live action was just something that was unheard of. So, as we begin Episode 1, Season 1, before anybody knew it was going to be a phenom, Power Rangers, let's go ahead and put ourselves back into that mindset of the 8-year-old kid coming home after the first day of school to turn on afternoon cartoons and have this pop up and see what is this all about. Okay, so intro, we have right off the bat, first thing we see is a bunch of monsters. We see Rita popping up out of the dumpster with her iconic "After 10,000 years I'm free" right there. And of course, if Rita was in there for 10,000 years, so were these other guys. Just saying. So a bunch of villains, monsters, weird-looking guys, and then we have a floating head talking to a robot saying, "We need some heroes." Boom. So right off the bat, we already know who the good guys are, who the bad guys are, but there's really no idea of what's going on yet. And of course, they're using just general footage of, whatever scenes they filmed to use for the intro to show the actors in and out of costume. You start seeing some other monsters fighting them, but it's like, what's going on here? So right off the bat, and then we have a couple of other kids, but again, right off the bat, we've got dinosaur-shaped robots, we've got weird-looking monsters, we've got boys and girls being superheroes, which also, when you think about it, for the time was pretty unheard of. So this is where we're at. Okay, take the volume off now. So here's the opening. We have a couple of astronauts.
Hey, look at that.
They don't specifically say it's the moon, and from that shot it looked like it was actually not the moon.
It looks like a giant space.
But since we have the moon base and we call it the moon base going forward, it's kind of the assumption that that's what it is. And again, I don't know how this is going to work with YouTube. This is fair use for reviewing the shows, but we'll see what happens.
Space dumpster. Let's open her up.
Okay. So boom, here we have first look at the monsters, and again, we've got just the 4 of them. Far shot, we really can't tell what's going on or who these guys are. A little close up, we first get our first look at Squatt.
Wake up, we're free.
Okay, so now we have the first named monster, Rita. That's all we know. Looks a little odd. Looks human for the most part. Has a very interesting costume on.
Let me get you a man.
Oh, it's good to be free after.
Okay, so now we've got our close-up of Finster. We already get the idea that Squatt and then Baboo, that we don't know his name yet, that hit Squatt. Okay, this is going to be certainly more comedic. I was going to say comic, but more comedic. Not necessarily all of them, but we're getting an idea.
Hear your evilness, let me help you. Walk with me, talk with me.
Oh, you made me step in a puddle, you net.
So again, here we go. Baboo trying to help out, trying to assist his leader, mentor, boss, whatever you want to call her. Obviously, he called her Empress. And messing up right off the bat. So you can already tell she's not necessarily happy with her minions or henchmen.
Edward, get out of my way, monkey face.
Astronauts are looking all scared. They don't know what's going on. Understandable. Again, if outside of Halloween, if you saw a couple of people dressed up like this, especially on another planet, you'd be pretty scared
Don't
too.
leave. You'll miss my coming out party. That's when I destroy the nearest planet.
And there's the nearest planet, Earth. Alright, now we get to the boring part. We can skip over some of this because we're going to fast forward through a bunch of this because this is just the kids hanging out, trying to give it an intro. We've got, one's a gymnast. We've got a couple that are practicing some martial arts. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, yeah, everything's wonderful. And again, the whole setup of this being a juice bar and hangout for the kids, that's where they can work out like it's a gym. They've got a balance beam. They've got some workout equipment in the back. Kind of an unusual setup. We've got lockers there. And then we have this, talking. And then here we go. We've got a couple of guys that obviously look like they don't fit in with everybody else that's there. Here comes the comic relief. Not as interesting as Monsters, of course. We can skip over some of this. This is just them showing that. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Looks like the stars of the show are always going to get the better of these two. Starts off like that right away, and probably no sign of that stopping anytime soon. Alright, so the Bandora Palace is what it actually says on there, but of course it's always referred to as the Moon Palace. Even in the scripts that we had, they were just referred to it as the Moon Palace or the Moon Base. So here we go.
Yes, I like it.
Okay. Go back a little bit. So Rita has her iconic telescope spying on Earth. Spying, you're led to believe from that shot, specifically on Angel Grove, as happens pretty much every episode going forward.
Yes, I like it. Good. Finster, start me.
Okay, so now we know that this one's name is Finster. One thing a lot of people didn't get at first, everybody thought he was some kind of dog, which is partially true. But if I get a good close-up shot of him, not so much here. But he's actually part tree. It's better seen in some of the concept art, but these are actually supposed to be like little tree branches. He actually has like a leaf or two hanging off of him on here too. It just never really got picked up on or even referenced in the show that that's what his makeup was, what his genetics. That's what I mean by makeup. I was one of the only ones that wore makeup. Well, Baboo.
Honey patrollers.
Yes, my queen.
I'll lead them down and make the earth yours, Empress.
Okay, so we have Goldar. Again, we don't quite get the name yet. He's the only one that's got a sword. He looks like he's definitely ready for a fight. He looks like he's the only one that's ready to fight. We're going to fast forward past some fun stuff. So here we go again. More working out. And obviously Billy here is learning and is new, but that's okay because Jason here is going to try to help him, and that's kind of important.
What is it that martial arts helps us to do? That's good. You memorize it very quickly.
And again, Bulk and Skull trying to show that they're just as good as
we did not sign up for a geeky
the guys
class.
who are about to become Rangers.
Okay.
Class dismissed.
First lesson. You did really well.
Everybody stay calm.
Okay, here we go. So,
Martial arts. Yeah, man, it's all up here.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Ernie.
Who ordered the spinach juice?
It's an earthquake. Everybody stay calm. Sorry, Paul.
I guess the implication is that Angel Grove is in the Southern California area or Northern California, a California area that will be prone to earthquakes.
Something tells me this is no earthquake.
Of course, we know that this isn't really an earthquake.
We'll all be destroyed.
With Alpha 5 and Zordon deciding that Rita's doing this. They don't really show it, but
Not that, not teenagers.
we know she's trying to conquer Earth, so we need some heroes. And, well, we have a couple of kids who know martial arts, and one gymnast, and one smart kid who's trying to learn martial arts, and this is going to be our team. Kind of funny when you think about it.
Place is Meg.
I just want to know where.
They have no idea what's going on.
Welcome, humans.
So who are you?
Like, what are you?
I am Zordon, an interdimensional being caught.
Again, perfectly normal reaction. Who are you? What are you? What is going on? Why? Where am I? Why am I here? I have no idea why you picked me.
It's quite simple, my dear. This planet is under attack, and I have brought you here to save it.
Oh, yeah, right.
Okay. Can skip ahead a little bit. Oh, yes. Go check out
Find
the
you at
viewing globe.
Your doubts will be answered in the images you see.
First look in the viewing globe.
This is Rita Repulsa, an
And there's my Empress once again.
galactic sorceress who is bent on controlling the universe. With her
And
henchmen
Goldar
controllers,
flying
she
behind
plans to
her.
conquer.
First look at the
All
putties.
of this have to do with us.
You've been chosen to form an elite team to battle. Behold,
Now
the
we're going to
keys
give
to
you
your
Ranger
power.
powers.
What are these?
Although I'm not
Those are
going
your
to...
power morphers. When in danger, raise them to the sky.
Really tell you
call
much
the name of your
about 'em.
dinosaur, and you will morph into a formidable fighting force known to one and all as the Power Rangers.
Morph?
Metamorphosis.
That means to change.
As Power Rangers, you will have access to a universe of power and will command a fleet of fighting machines called Zords.
I don't get it.
Jason, bold and powerful, you shall command the Tyrannosaurus dinosaur. Zachary, you are clever and brave, you shall command the Mastodon dinosaur. Kimberly, graceful and smart, the pterodactyl dinosaur shall be yours. Billy, patient and wise, you shall command the powerful Triceratops dinosaur. Tree, fearless and agile, the saber-toothed tiger dinosaur will be under your command. Observe the viewing globe, just as the five of you work together. So
Alright, so again, they've been given their Ranger powers now. It was a little coincidental, shall we say, that Zach was made the Black Ranger, that Trini was made the Yellow Ranger. I don't think anything was necessarily meant by it, and I do know that that's part of the reason when Season 2, when they switched up, they kind of switched things around a little bit and didn't want to have the same characteristics of the Rangers, or the same colors. Again, as an 8-year-old kid, I don't think you care. You're just like, wow, this is cool. One thing that was interesting too that you'll see in the battle scenes coming up is in the original Japanese Sentai shows, Yellow Ranger was a male. So that's why really Pink Ranger's the only one that's in a skirt. So even though Yellow
Yeah, see
Ranger
ya.
was played by Twee in this, played by a female, or the stock footage was actually
Well, now that didn't go very well,
set
did
up
it?
to be a male
Ay, ay, ay.
costume.
Great.
Alright, so they have no idea what's going on. They're debating whether they believe them, what they want to do.
Finster, hurry up with those putty patrollers!
Yes, your evil darkness. I'm building the last ones now.
Get this back to normal speed, because this is important stuff. This is monsters.
Putties will make space dust out
Back
of those
up in here,
kids.
there we go.
So, you think you can stop me, do you?
And again, just take a look at Rita's costume for a second here. I mean, first of all, the voice, Barbara Goodson did a fantastic job as Rita Repulsa. Gave her that screech whine. You know, you can tell she's evil from the voice. You know, it reminds me going back to my youth, and actually well before my youth, but the Wicked Witch of the West and the Wizard of Oz. That, I'll get you, my pretty. You know, the voice was reminiscent of that. You've got kind of a weird hairdo, but it looks like it's two witches' hats kind of stuck together as that. She's got this giant collar, got this huge staff, which it looks like it's a moon, but it actually does connect, so it forms kind of a weird O with that in there. You don't know what that's for yet, but I guess we'll find out shortly what she can actually do with it.
Finster, hurry up with those putty patroller.
Okay, so Finster is making something. We have no idea what this is yet. Putty patrollers. He's got some clay and a
Putties will
mold.
make space just under those kids.
And the beauty
And then all of a
is, if
sudden
we
he's
don't, we
got
can always
little
make more.
figures.
Now into the monster-matic they go. 10 seconds.
He's got a
should
whole
do
bunch
it.
of figures. You can kind of see there. Let me back up a hair here. I'm not going to be able to catch it. If you look at his hand, though, you can kind of see that it's supposed to be
Now my
tree-like.
putties prepare to get those teenagers.
I'm going to try one more time to see if I can get a better shot of it. Go back a little bit more here. Of course, it's going to buffer again on me. And that's why we don't like going backwards when we're streaming things, because that usually happens. If I can move it forward a little bit. And of course not. Well, while we're waiting, so we've got Goldar here in the background, and looks like some kind of gorilla type character. Baboo was called Monkey Face earlier. The name Baboo, of course, reminiscent of baboon. As far as Squatt, I couldn't tell you. Squatt looked like some kind of almost like a food dog mixed with something else. Don't know too many creatures that have a horn coming straight up out of their head.
Monster-matic they go.
Okay, here we
10
go.
seconds should do it.
Yeah, you can't really see. There, that's the one I was looking for. There's actually branches off of his hand. That's to let you know that he's part tree. Alright, so here we go.
We shouldn't have left. I mean, he chose
We're
us
more
to
than
save the
halfway
world.
through the first episode,
do it.
and
really think
we
we
haven't
can?
even seen a fight yet.
I mean, you don't even know what you're talking about. We were talking
But
to a
it's definitely
giant
going to be
floating
coming.
head.
Those
Going to be a
stupid
lot more of
teenagers
them
don't know who
coming.
they're messing with.
Every season.
Get the putties. It's time. All right, take that.
Okay.
What was that?
And there's the putties. There's the iconic everybody jumping over everybody intro scene. We'll see this quite a bit when they show up. Really cool looking, really good looking. Good idea to have the camera down on the ground while everybody jumps over it. Now we know at least 3 of them. Jason, Trini, and Zach know martial arts. And his is, hip-hop keto. Jason's more, and Trini were more traditional martial arts. So they're fighting them with what they're capable of. They really haven't tapped into the ranger power yet. I love that he's got to put his glasses away. Again, Kimberly being a gymnast, they're trying to hold them off, but realistically, they're not doing so hot. Again, Billy going down first without having any training makes sense. Kimberly, gymnast next. I mean, they got manhandled by the putties. Even Trini, who's got some martial arts knowledge, and then Jason, who's actually leading the martial arts classes. I mean, granted, there was 3 of them on him. I'll give him a little bit of credit, but
This day is too
yeah, the
weird.
putties
What do we do
definitely
now?
could beat normal humans without them using their morphers to become actual Power Rangers. They wouldn't have had any chance of defeating them whatsoever.
Zordon, they've done it. They made the metamorphosis.
So yeah, yay.
Teleport them to
They believed.
Rita just sent down
Now they're
Goldar.
heroes because they
By the way,
believed.
Zordon,
Okay, so now we know Goldar sent down. Let's see what happens. Now they're all, oh look, we can teleport. We've got these cool costumes. We can do. There's Goldar. Note with the wings. This will come into focus later on during this season, and then the very beginning of season 2. Putties are still doing okay. They weren't doing that much worse off than they were when they were in street clothes. I mean, they're getting
Finster, those
beat
stupid
up.
putties are getting beaten by a bunch of pimple-faced
Goldar big with your wand.
I always have to do everything myself. Finster, I'll deal with you later.
Oh, dear.
So yeah, so Rita has to deal with everything herself. Well, let's see. Finster makes monsters. Squatt and Baboo don't fight at all. It's Goldar and whatever monsters Finster makes. So yeah, Rita pretty much has to do everything by herself. No, she lets Finster make the monsters. All she does is make them grow big. Come up with the plans, which, you know, differing degrees of success. And that's one of the things we'll get into on all the shows is how successful the Monster of the Week was, or the plan was, in actually defeating the Rangers. But we're starting to get an idea of what she's like, what all the characters are like. Okay, so this is... She actually throws her wand from the moon to the earth, and now all of a sudden, Goldar's a giant. Nice effect with the smoke there, to make it look like he's growing. He's got a sword.
The good guys are here. Get off our planet.
Because we're the Power Rangers. And we're
Much
not
used
backing down.
footage of them
Dinosaur power.
calling the Zords. So that's common use in a lot of the episodes. And again, that's the way the show was made. It was made to, I mean, first of all, the way it was made as an American show. We took Japanese footage, crafted a story around it, and filmed the scenes with American actors that he needed to make the story make sense. And it absolutely exploded. There's no other word for how popular this was. I mean, it was phenomenally
This is kicking.
popular.
This is Billy. All systems go.
I know from August of 1993, when the show debuted, through the end of the year 1994, that merchandising grossed over $1 billion.
It's almost like second nature to me.
I mean, Power Rangers became synonymous with printing money. We could stick a Power Rangers logo or figure or character on anything and sell it and make money, and boy did that.
Alright guys, let's go get him! Right!
So here we go. So we have all the Rangers call their Zords, form one giant Megazord,
Let's see what this baby can do!
and Goldar's holding his own with him.
Him again!
I mean, they're hitting him, he's taking some hits, he gets knocked down.
Send this guy back where he came from! Right! Right! Alright guys, power it up!
So now they figure out how to make the Megazord even stronger in battle mode.
Megazord sequence has been initiated.
Again, cool effect, transforming, all coming together to make this giant robot.
Megazord activated.
Goldar comes in, gives him a nice hit. You know, he rattles the Megazord a little bit. Sword strikes. Megazord's realizing, yeah, me punching him versus a sword, maybe I need a little more help here.
That blow didn't even phase him! Man! He's coming at us!
Goldar's pretty strong again with the drop kick. Goldar had him on the ropes mainly because they were new and didn't understand all of what they could do right off the bat. And then Jason has the epiphany, hey, we need a sword too. Now, what's he gonna do? Is he gonna beat Goldar with it? Nope, Goldar sees the sword and just runs. Kind of a wimp out in my opinion. We don't know how powerful the sword was. We don't know how well they could have used it. Here's Squatt and Baboo arguing over whose fault it was. Of course, Squatt and Baboo had nothing to do with any of this, but that's okay.
It won't happen again, Empress.
Hint, it will happen again. Many, many times.
Shut up, I've got a headache.
And there's the iconic Rita line, I've got a headache. We will keep track of how many times this actually gets said. It wasn't every episode, but it was quite a lot of them. And
Congratulations on a job well
celebration,
done.
yeah,
Now that you become Power Rangers,
they won,
you must
who
follow
cares?
3 basic rules or lose the protection of the power. First, never use your power for personal gain.
So
Second,
here's the rules.
never escalate a battle unless Rita forces you.
Never
And finally,
escalate
keep
a
your
battle.
identity
That's
secret.
interesting.
No one may know you are a Power Ranger.
Wait a
That
second.
may,
Yes, Zachary, what is it?
that may
I'm not
come
sure
up
we're
at
allowed
another
to.
time.
I
We'll
mean,
see.
We were pretty lucky this time.
Luck had nothing to do with it.
No,
The
luck
five of you
had
have
plenty
come
to do with it.
together
You
to
guys
form a
didn't know what you were
superheroes
doing
as
at
there has
all.
ever been.
No way.
There's lots more monsters coming
Been
your
through an
way.
extraordinary experience together. You need each other now, and the world needs you.
Yeah, all right, I'm in.
Me too.
You can count on me.
Affirmative.
Yeah, they got lucky in one battle, and they think they can do
I don't think I can do
everything.
it.
Oh, no. Kimberly, no.
Not.
Circuit overload, circuit overload.
I mean, you think there was a lot of comic relief in this. We had Bulk and Skull, we had Alpha 5, we had Squatt and Baboo. I mean, it was meant for kids. There had to be a lot of funny, fun stuff in it. We can go back to just me now. There we go. Okay. So that was episode 1. We've got some very interesting characters. You know, we don't really know who Squatt and Baboo are yet. We just know that they're kind of in the background. They will be certainly asked to do more going forward. We get an idea that Finster cares about making monsters and really not much else. I mean, he'll follow Rita's direction for what monsters to make or for ideas for monsters, but don't know how really loyal in that sense he is. And I had talked about this actually on an episode of Action Activate with Gaz and the Big Dog. We did an episode talking about alignment throughout the Power Rangers universe. And we talked about Squatt and Baboo, and especially Finster, actually being true neutral. Finster cared about his work, cared about the monsters. He wanted to make the best monster he could, but didn't really care necessarily if Rita's plan worked or not. We'll see in some episodes down the line that he even tells her that this isn't going to work. And she tries it and does it anyway, and then gets mad when it doesn't work and blames him. Goldar is the only one that we've seen so far that's really a fighter. So, other than the putties, of course. So Goldar is the big monster of the week this week. And he actually gave them a run for their money until they decided to call on the power sword. Not decided, maybe realized that they could. And instead of seeing what kind of effect that would have, Goldar just said, you know what, I'm out of here. If you're going to get a sword too. Again, we will see some battles later on between Goldar and individual Rangers, and then Goldar with the sword and the Zord and the Megazord. But after episode 1, you still don't quite know what's going on. We know Rita's a bad girl. We know she's on the moon, or she has a team that we're not sure how effective they are yet. And we don't really start it until the Monsters of the Week, till the next episode. Other thing to remember for everybody that's watched, a lot of the newer seasons, and maybe not the original episodes, for Mighty Morphin was a daily show. It was meant to be an after-school show, so it was on Monday through Friday. It was initially planned to be 40 episodes, which would be 8 weeks worth of 5 days a week. We'll find out later that they had to do more than 40 episodes, again, because the show got so popular so quickly. That's about all I've got for right now. One thing I didn't necessarily talk about much was the other voices. I did mention Barbara Goodson doing Rita's voice. Kerrigan, that did the voice of Goldar. Another awesome voice, nice, deep, scary, you know the guy's a fighter. I know the voice changed up a little bit as the series went on, because it was getting to be too much of a strain on Kerrigan's voice, so he changed it up a little bit. Finster, just kind of, I don't want to say generic voice. I mean, the voice fits the character, but I'm not sure that there's anything super outstanding about it. It was good. It worked for the character, but it's not something that you go, oh wow, this is just... Again, he wasn't meant to be scary. He wasn't meant to be a fighter. He was meant to be an artist. He is an artist. Squatt and Baboo are a little bit goofy. We'll come to see as the show goes on Why they're so goofy, I'll maybe get into that more over the next couple of episodes. I don't want to give it away quite yet. Although, again, if you've watched me on some of the other shows that I've done on Action Activate, you'll know why. Or some of the other interviews I might have done. I think that's about it for now. I think we had a good intro. Again, it left you wanting more, which is what a good show does. It's like, okay, wow. What's going to happen tomorrow? Again, I can't say next week like it is. Literally, what's going to happen tomorrow? Who's going to be the new monster? So, we'll get to that on the next episode of Baboo's Monster Review. And let me leave you with one final statement. Please do remember, monsters need love too.